Alright, you are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So it's 6 days. What is it? It's Sunday, next Saturday. So 6 days. 6 days until I do the Bitcoin conference again, do some stand-up comedy at the conference that I have written nothing for. And I wasn't going to write anything for it because I was just going to do my old material. And then the organizer sent me a message the other day going, I cannot wait to hear all your new material. It's been such a big year in Bitcoin. It's going to be awesome. Strap in because there's a lot of new material coming. They're like, how long do you need? 25 minutes, 20 minutes? I'm like, yeah, just 7 to 10 will do. I fucking emptied the tank last year. And last year I wasn't working, so I could fucking lounge around the house and just chill out, write a fucking joke here and there. And this year, I'm working 12 hours a day, and now I got to write some fucking new material. I got 6 days, well, not including today. Today's over. I've got 5 days to write like 10, 15 minutes of material. I think I did about the same last year. Like by the time I started writing seriously, I did it in about 2 or 3 days. But I had ideas percolating in my head for like a couple of months before that. I just had to add a few things and I had to herd the fucking sheep. I just had to get it all together. This year I have nothing. I have absolutely nothing in my head. I have no inspiration to write any Bitcoin material. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I don't know what angle I'm going to take. But I'm doing it. I'm fucking doing it on Saturday and I'm out in the beer garden again, which was a nightmare last year. Also, the organizers we'll put you out in the beer garden again. I'm like, all right, the beer garden, that's fine, I suppose. They're like, well, where else would you want to be? I'm like, where else? How about a fucking stage? How about indoors on a fucking stage somewhere? They're like, I thought last year was great. And I'm like, yeah, last year was great because you're dealing with a fucking professional comedian. You can't just throw anyone out there with fucking 15 minutes of untried fucking Bitcoin material in a fucking beer garden out in the open and get them to fucking herd their own crowd in and then fucking smash it. That's a skill that no one actually gives a fuck about. It's worse. I should have just become a cobbler. There is a guy around the corner from me. It's the only old school leather maker cobbler. I don't know what the fuck he is, but it's an old Greek guy who smokes darts in the shop still, and he just cobbles his own shoes and leather goods. And it's like an old school store. I don't know who the fuck he's passing that down to, the shop or the skills. No one wants it. I wish I was a cobbler. There's actually a listener of this podcast. He's Lunatic Leather on fucking Instagram. And he's out there in Wyoming, USA. And he does his own leather belts. And he sculpts these beautiful designs into leather. I really want one of his belts. But the Australian dollar is so fucked at the moment. They're just a touch out of my price range. But that's what I want. I just want a skill like that. I just stare at that shit sometimes and it's so fucking cool. There's another guy, an Australian guy that listens to the podcast. He's the wood stove guy on Instagram and he restores iron ovens and stoves, wood stoves, old school ones. And he takes them from rusted out pieces of shit in people's backyards to these fucking beautiful shiny iron old school fucking antique stoves. It's great. These are tangible skills. Like, no one cares about comedy. They pretend they care about comedy. They care about comedy if you're selling out a stadium. If you're just some guy in the corner of a room, no one remembers any of your jokes or any of your fucking face. No one remembers your name. Forget about your name. You could say it 1,000 times in a set and they'll be like, what was that guy's name again? The bald guy? Gums? He has like those red gums when he smiles. For example, like this gig that I do in Sydney, that was like my fucking go-to gig. They would just put me up at the end every fucking Thursday and I'd do like 20, 25 minutes, whatever the fuck I wanted to do. Well, now that gig is pretty much over because the venue decided to put a pool table up there. A pool table. Like a pool table's gonna fucking save your business. The business is going under and the best thing you can come up with is, I tell you what we should do. We'll get a pool table and we'll put it right in the middle, right where the crowd and the comedian performs. They won't mind. They'll just work around it. And that's what they did. They put a fucking giant pool table in a tiny space upstairs in this fucking bar. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. Because there's no way, even though like the fucking comedy was on and the crowds weren't huge, but they would get some pretty big crowds here and there. And the crowds would buy drinks. There's no way a pool table's making more than like $80 a fucking week. A pool table's not turning things around. You know what I mean? Neither is a fucking comedy night. I can tell you that right now. But a comedy night, it's got to be above pool table, doesn't it? It's got to be above inanimate objects, doesn't it? Like dartboards, pool tables, table tennis tables, all that. That's under comedy, isn't it? Foosball table. It can't possibly go comedy, pool tables, magician, trivia, dartboards. Like, we can't be under pool table, but we are. So my Sydney gig is gone now because they've put a pool table in there. So now it's time to find something else. Jesus Christ. And the fucking best thing about that whole pool table situation is I was speaking to the guy who runs it. I was like, what were they thinking? They're like, we could just work around it. I'm like, it's in the middle of the fucking floor. It's where the entire crowd sits. It's where we perform. Like, are we going to perform behind it and put the chairs around the table? I've performed around a pool table before. I did a birthday party a few years back around a pool table. I'm like, let's go. I'll do it. I don't give a fuck. I'm doing the Bitcoin conference on Saturday with no material. Maybe I'll do it around the pool table. There are pool tables there as well. I'll fucking gather around, cunts. Anyway, I got to start thinking of something to say, but I can't stop reading this World War I book. I'm addicted to it. But I have to put it down this week because I can't go up there and bomb. Or I can't go up there and say nothing. I can bomb easy. I have no problems with bombing. But I don't want to bomb with nothing coming out of my mouth. I want to bomb with words coming out. Anyway, that'll do it for tonight. And I'll see you the fuck later.